Hi, I'm Seth Besmertnik, co-founder and CEO of Conductor. I wanted to welcome you to Conductor's first virtual C3. On behalf of everybody at Conductor, we are so happy that you're here. We're grateful for you to be here. We know this is an incredibly difficult time, and many of you have been affected dramatically, both personally and in your careers and professionally. And we wanted to let you know we're thinking of you, we're here for you. We put this together to bring some inspiration, to bring a bit of excitement and some fun to the day. And we hope that it does exactly that. So thanks for being here, and let's jump into it.
Welcome to C3, all the way from California.
This is my mom, Yana. She works at Conductor.
Hi, I'm Dave Friedman from the Conductor product team.
Hey, this is Erica Ehrlich from Conductor.
Hey, I'm Allie from Conductor.
Hello, it's Charity from Conductor.
Hey, I'm Stefan Bashayo from Conductor.
This is the standing desk I've built on my bedroom dresser.
Calling in from a makeshift desk at my kitchen island.
Working from home in my makeshift office, which is also a bar cart.
Working from my guest room / gym / office.
Fun fact, it's also my guest bedroom.
You're now in my home office / living room.
I'm spending this time in Michigan with my family.
I'm here in my apartment in London, England.
Coming to you from sunny Florida.
I'm still in the East Village in New York.
Account executive based out of San Francisco.
I'm currently at the Dan Williams headquarters.
And I'm just living the quarantine life.
I'm isolating at the beach in a cabin.
And enjoying my days with the most elaborate wallpaper known to man.
And I am currently quarantined in Queens, New York with my roommate who absolutely does not understand the concept of personal space.
This quarantine, I've been focused on hitting my targets. We always say we'll teach our customers to fish, so I decided to learn myself.
My favorite part of quarantine is these amazing home-cooked meals that my fiance keeps making.
Hey everyone, Pat and Declan Reinhardt here, surviving the lockdown from beautiful Long Island, New York.
I'm currently quarantining in the Upper East Side in New York City, and my puzzle hobby is beginning to take over my living room floor.
And this is the only progress I've made on my quarantine puzzle so far.
Oh, hey there. This is Joe Lorino reporting live from White Plains, New York, chewing on some fruit, working on some Searchlight.
I'm sorry you have to look at my quarantine beard. It's not going that well.
Cheers.
All right, so here we are. So this is my dad in 1975. He actually just posted this picture on Earth Day on Facebook. And I saw it, and it really struck a chord with me. So he moved out from Brooklyn and had a house in Long Island. And as you can see, it's a pretty empty property. And there he is planting trees, something that he loved to do. Fast forward 13 years later, I was born at this point, and there's me and my brother, and we're doing it once again, except now we're involved and we're planting trees in the backyard. And I remember just being bored out of my mind planting these trees. I was like, let's go. I'd much rather be going on and playing Nintendo or doing something else with my friends. But my dad was really committed to the long term, and I just wanted that immediate gratification. So he planted trees, and sometimes he forced me to do it with him, and we did lots of them. Fast forward to today, I totally understand why he did that. Trees are unbelievable. They give us oxygen, they give us shade, they give us wood, they give us shelter. They really are the foundation for all things life. And why are we starting this event talking about trees? Well, trees are a great metaphor for the work we do as organic marketers. There's an old Chinese proverb that many of you may have heard that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. And the second best time is to do it right now, right in this moment. And there are many companies that started planting seedlings a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and they are reaping the benefits today, especially in the world that we're living in today. And you'll hear many of their stories today, and we're really excited. We have some amazing organizations that are sharing the insights of what they've been doing with everyone. And if you haven't been doing this, if you haven't been planting any seeds, if you're really just starting, as the proverb says, the second best time is right now. And our hope is to invite some inspiration and help support all of the companies and marketers who are actively doing this right now. To start things off, we have a great story from a phenomenal customer, Stanley Security, who's been planting seeds for many years and is really doing some amazing work in this time of COVID.
As soon as COVID happened, it was really important for us to just take a step back and think about what is it that our customers need right now.
And that's one of the great things about the Conductor tools that has really helped us to garner insight from users, to allow us to see what their story is currently and allow us to adapt in a real way using the experts that we have in our brand.
We created a full customer journey based on where they were at and what they were experiencing related to COVID. From there, we identified opportunities of pieces of content that we could create to help them through each of those stages.
It's a week-by-week strategy at this point. We're remaining flexible, agile. We adapt when new content topics arise and when customers are experiencing new challenges.
From the content to SEO to the site layout, everything serves in an audience in a real way.
Our business is in a position where we're still growing organically and we're seeing more visitors every month, while the rest of the industry and our competitors, they're seeing a significant decline in traffic and the impact that they're able to make to their teams.
Every month since the launch of the blog in September, we've just seen blog page views increase exponentially.
We could not be more thankful and happy that we started this journey last year of really looking at developing a comprehensive SEO strategy that relies on really great content to better serve our customers.
What an incredible team, Stanley Security. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing that story. And this is what C3 is all about. It's about the long term. And actually, I think we use a better picture to represent C3 that we're in today. And C3 is about planting trees. It's about making investments today that are going to provide for us and yield benefits for us in this moment and in the moments to come. It's about believing in a better future and preparing to make the most of it. So this time last year, we're in the New World stages here in New York. I was cleanly shaven. I was well deodorized. We're giving this, having this event. And fast forward today, we are in a world we could have never imagined. We're trying to make sense of this really insanity. We're working from home. We're trying to figure out how to make this work. And the most difficult part for all of us, in my opinion, is that there's no certainty about what's going to happen in the future. We don't know when this is going to end. We don't know what's next. We don't know what's in for us. But there are some things that I believe we do have certainty on. One of them is that this is going to end. We are going to get out of this. We are going to be in a better world. We are going to be in a post-pandemic, and it's going to be even a better world when we come out of this. There's no doubt about that. The second thing is that in times like this, these are times when we all grow. Growth comes on the basis of adversity and challenges. There is a lot of invention. There's going to be a lot of improvement. We're all, I think, going to be hopefully more grateful people at the end of this and more appreciative of all the things we have. And there is going to be a lot of good, and we are going to experience a lot of growth. I'm certain that we as digital marketers and a community, we can really help. We can really help right now, and we can help in this moment. There are actually a lot of companies that have stepped up and are really helping out. There's a lot of organizations, and I'm really excited to share. We've been working with Johns Hopkins for many years. They've been at C3 in the past, and they've been literally on ground zero in helping and sharing data and helping on a global scale. Really excited to get a few minutes of their marketing team's time to talk a little bit about what they've been doing.
Hopkins has an expertise in infection prevention. And really, when we saw internal emails that the coronavirus crisis in China was becoming a big deal, we realized that we had to start creating content because this was coming to the United States, plus it's around the world. The very first article we put up, What is Coronavirus?, has performed very, very well. In addition, we did one, Coronavirus versus the Flu, and that's performed very well. And it just kind of unfolded from there between the conditions, the symptoms, and then we turned to wellness and stress and how to cope with social distancing, and it's just kind of continued on.
Early stages, we wanted people to know whether or not they should come in for testing, right? And what they should do to support our healthcare workers and how they could best do that, whether it's donating goods, donating foods, donating masks. Today it is more about telehealth and opening those kinds of options to people and making sure they understand that if they have other critical illnesses, we're still here for you.
In the beginning, we were getting hundreds and hundreds of questions a day on social asking us questions.
Now it's went down significantly. And I believe that that is a testament to the content that we're pushing out there that's answering all the questions that people have.
I think it's been especially exciting for our team to be in something that is so day to day, and where we're so clearly, well positioned to support those business goals and communicate those messages.
It's actually wonderful to know that the work that we're putting into this is having a great deal of value for people. We can tell by the numbers that people turn to us and they keep coming back for information.
Helping people isn't just for hospitals and medical institutions. All of us, all of our companies are uniquely positioned to help. The mission of Conductor is to transform marketing into a force for positive impact. This is something that we beat the drums about every single year at C3 and every conversation we have with customers. And there's really no better time right now to use marketing as a force for positive impact. This worldview can really be summarized in our vision statement, which is putting customers first is a better way to do marketing. And for you, for your customers. And when you create valuable content, relevant content, you win customers and you help people and you grow your business. Our goal is to convince you in this event today that this is super important, super compelling, give you some tips and tactics and strategies and inspiration on how you can do it, and help champion all the companies that are actively doing this and share their stories with you. While we are incredibly optimistic about the mid and long term, I'd be remiss to not talk about some of the real challenges that we have in this very moment and some of the just bad things that are going on. We've all seen the data that there's been more job losses in the history, I think, since we've been recording unemployment. The numbers are 100x higher than they've ever been before. Over 35 million people have lost their jobs just in the last 8 weeks, which is pretty terrible. And this is affecting human behavior. This is affecting the way we search. We look back at this exact time last year at the most popular how-to search, and it was How to Train Your Dragon, which is a kid's movie. Fast forward 12 months from now, fast forward to today, sorry, the number one how-to search, which is how to make a mask, trying to save lives. Big difference. Now looking at number two was how to take a screenshot, something that we can all, important skill in society. Fast forward to today, how to make hand sanitizer, how to protect, we're trying to protect our families. The world is in a completely different place than it was 12 months ago. Businesses around the world are bringing empathy back to life. Commercials are all saying we're here for you. You have to be not living in a jungle if you haven't received an email that says, we're here for you, and a company talking about what they're doing. We even did one of these at Conductor, right, when this happened, where we sent an email to our customers. And when we did that, I was just like, this feels so unsatisfying, right? This is a time when I think words are a lot less valuable than actually taking actions. And unfortunately, a lot of companies, a lot of organizations felt the same way and have started to take action. There's been so many of these great stories. One of them is Visa, one of our customers, and they have a foundation, and they created a $200 million fund to make investments and to make grants in small and micro businesses with a particular focus on women empowerment. Pretty amazing what they're doing at Visa, and we're really proud to be working with them and proud of what they're doing. Companies have been just going straight to the heart of it, giving you money. Geico sent an email to all of their customers saying, if you're a customer, we're going to give you a 15% credit on your bill. Nothing to do, no emails, no forms to process. Pretty awesome. Thank you very much, Geico. I'm sure any Geico customers are all happy. We're all happy about that. And I think most insurance companies are doing this. And then companies have been changing their products. The word touchless delivery, I don't think had ever been searched before. And now if you go to Google Trends, it's like got massive spikes. And companies like Papa John's, they have a beautiful infographic on how they deliver touchless delivery. They deliver pizza without ever touching it. Lincoln is delivering cars without touching it. And I bet if you have enough money, you can get a Papa John's pizza in a Lincoln delivered by the man himself, Mr. McConaughey. So it's pretty amazing. A great story is from one of our customers, ThermoWorks. They historically have made meat thermometers and have the #1 product in the space. They've been watching the trends, they've been watching the search data, and they use this information to reshape their product offering. Very excited to have their VP of Marketing, Tim Robinson, here with us. Let's hear directly from him.
SEO is critical to everything we do, and it really starts from a basic philosophical approach, which is something I picked up at C3 about the Google searches as being the nearest place that I can get to understanding what customers are looking for. What questions do they have? What problems are they having? And then mapping that onto what we offer so that we as a team can articulate our offering in a way that is relevant and that resonates with what customers really, really are looking for. We started noticing a surge in interest in infrared thermometry, coincident with the rise of COVID-19 in China, actually. And so early in the year, we started taking a look at returning to an area that we had left, which is medical use thermometers. Our CEO was able to develop and identify a non-contact forehead thermometer that we could fast track so that it would be available to businesses and other individuals here in the United States. And I'm happy to report that we received our first shipment of those at the end of April and are now shipping those out all over the country. They're critical to this human screening step that's now recommended by the CDC and other organizations to get us back up on our feet economically. Around mid-March, and really taking off in the second week of April, we saw a surge in organic traffic, both to the blog and to the site, 150% over what we were seeing last year. We saw sourdough bread was performing well, grilling content was performing well. We created a couple of series that we thought would appeal directly to that customer intent. Last year, we had 40% increase in our organic traffic at the blog and 30% overall. And so this most recent surge is just an ongoing development with what we've been seeing. When you see 40% increase in organic traffic year over year in a given calendar year, that gets everybody's attention. And so it's easy to continue to perpetuate those kinds of processes that have gotten you there.
Let's zoom into the world of marketing to get a sense of what's going on. We did a survey across a large group of executives and digital marketing leaders and got some really notable insights. One, budgets are getting slashed hard. Over 65% of companies are experiencing a budget cut or are expecting to. Meanwhile, their goals are staying the same. So you got less money to spend, but you got to do the same thing. And in some cases, you got to do more. Lots of stuff's getting cut. Events are getting cut. Account-based marketing programs are getting cut. Anything that has to do with in-person is obviously getting cut. Media is getting cut. TV, radio, offline, in-home advertising. Even display and digital marketing investments, a lot of this is getting scaled back. And we asked, are there any places where you are investing more, you are focusing on more? And we did find, much to our liking, that our good friend SEO is getting more investment in this time. Over 60% of companies said they plan to or are actively investing more and focusing more on SEO, and this makes sense. It's the most highest ROI form of marketing. It's very efficient. It continues to give even when you don't give it, and it makes sense that it's about time for companies to start actually scaling this up. Now, it also makes more sense because people have been avoiding advertising every year more and more, and now that and in some cases now they have no choice but to avoid advertising. Netflix and Spotify, two ad-free platforms, just announced their earnings, and they have record subscribers, which is again those people now you can't buy those people's attention anymore. But it's not like people are just gone and off the grid. They're actually showing up in more places more than ever before. And that's with searching for help. People are asking for help more than ever before. They're asking Alexa, they're searching on Google, they're searching on YouTube. And pretty much if you're buying anything, B2B, B2C, if you're doing research, you are searching Google, you are using content from Google or from a source that you're searching for to help make that decision. We've almost become entirely dependent on making these decisions on other people. Now, a common misnomer is that you think that when you go to Google, for example, you're getting content from Google. And this is not true. You actually don't. Google helps you find the content. They help connect you with the companies who do provide the content. They don't provide the content themselves. So who does provide the content? Well, it's nonprofits, it's corporations, it's businesses, it's experts, it's content marketers, it's SEO marketers, it's digital marketers, it's creators, it's you guys. You guys are the ones that provide the content that people find when they search for. And it makes sense because where is all the wisdom in the world? Well, a lot of the wisdom is in your organizations. From the first day your founders started your companies, you have been accruing knowledge. You've been accruing expertise, you've been accruing experiences. So when you think about the problems that you solve, that your customers have, or the products that you sell, your company knows the most about it. So how do you use marketing as a way to source that information, to bring that information to the surface? We shouldn't be going to the outside to get expertise. We should be going inside and doing that. And a lot of great companies are coming up with process to tap their internal experts and bring that to the surface. And we're going to share some of those stories. And when you bring great wisdom and great knowledge and you do it in a very customer-centric way, you get rewarded. You get rewarded by Google by having good results, good rankings, good visibility, good traffic, getting sales from those customers. Google doesn't care about who's good at SEO or who's bad at SEO, or, they didn't come up with a search engine to reward companies that do SEO well. They came up with a search engine to help people who need something find the thing that's the best, find the best piece of content, find the best information. And that's why we tell our customers literally every single day, the only thing that matters, the only algorithm that matters is the heart, the mind, the soul of the customer. If you focus on what your customers need and you give it to them, then you're going to win. And as such, when you show up in Google, it used to be that you had a high ranking. So you'd get traffic, you'd get visitors, you'd get sales, but that's what it meant. Today, ranking in Google, showing up at the top, is a predictor of what your market position is going to be in the future. And that's because that's how consumers buy. They're not going into stores, they're not calling up reps, they're making judgments on companies by who gets found, who gets found and who are the companies that are showing up on top. So a great ranking, a great piece of content, a great position means your company is the leader. And we all want to be leaders, we all have to be leaders, and this is the currency for how customers are making decisions today. So when you really think about it, SEO is sort of simple, right? The customer's keywords, well, that's their needs. And the rankings, well, that's your content. Those are your answers. And if you really know what people want and you know what they're searching for, and you've got the content for it, then you can be the one who provides the answers. You can build their trust. You can be their provider. You can be their partner. As my dad tried to tell me a long time ago, it's about doing what's needed today to ensure a better tomorrow. We have a group of CMOs and heads of marketing that we've assembled and had great conversations with who have been doing this incredibly well. We want you to hear from them. We want you to hear from them. And our very own conductors, Lindsay Boyajian, has spent a bunch of time with them, and we are excited to share those stories with you right now.
There was a time not so long ago when CMOs had little knowledge or interest in SEO. And the good news is that has changed. We're finding more and more marketing leaders understand the value of SEO and the place it fits within their content strategy. Last week, I had the chance to sit down with marketing leaders from two Conductor customers, Rana Ghosh, the Vice President of Omnichannel at the low-cost airline carrier Spirit Airlines, and Amy Sijens, the CMO of human resources consulting firm Mercer. These two come from very different businesses at different stages of their SEO journey. What they share, though, is a commitment to elevating the role of SEO in their organizations. Here are some highlights from our conversation. Rana, Amy, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with an overview of how SEO fits into your marketing efforts.
So SEO is something that we're still relatively early in. And we've done a couple of things in the past, but certainly part of our e-commerce strategy is now evolving towards being able to utilize SEO much more actively. As we continue to expand and have gone into more mid-sized markets, this is becoming much more prominent in terms of our marketing strategy. As we know we have a new audience that we need to reach out to. And SEO, we feel will give us a lot more touch and a lot more reach as we continue to look at these new markets that for us.
Search engine optimization is a big part of what we do around our digital agenda. And so it's a big priority for us. My team leads the digital effort across 28 different domains that sit primarily in local language. We want to make sure that we're creating locally, culturally relevant content. We're weaving in searchability, SEO, in a way that's really going to be relevant to the readers.
Rana, you mentioned Spirit's SEO approach goes beyond demand generation.
For us, this is a bit of a combination of being able to support our service side in addition to our sales side. So it's a cost reduction opportunity for us in terms of removing calls that would otherwise come in by being able to provide that information quickly to anybody that's searching. As much as it is for ensuring that we also are driving top of funnel activity to eventually convert to sales.
Amy, I understand that Mercer has decentralized its SEO function. Can you tell us the thinking behind that?
How we've approached it, we said, if we have one SEO expert that doesn't really understand the content and doesn't really understand the customer journey, then it's not really that effective. Instead, what we've done is we've said, this group of thought leadership experts, we want them to become knowledgeable about the power of SEO, and we've sort of trained them and coached them through this over time. I've seen the evolution work where first the content's created, it's tossed out there, it doesn't resonate. Then the second step is, okay, well, let's put some keywords in the content and hope it does a little bit better. And usually that moves the needle a little bit. But the real advantage is when we step back and say, let's build the content in a way where it's going to be searchable and where it will be found. So when you start to weave that into the actual planning process, that's when content becomes very powerful.
Last question. How have you built support within your organization for investing in SEO?
The way that we got support, frankly, was starting small, getting a couple of initiatives in play that kind of helped initially with our SEO efforts. So we had a couple of microsites that we were able to get up and running. We saw what the resulting lift was as a result of that, and that gave us the basis for being able to build from there into a broader strategy across all of our pages.
We're obviously having these conversations, and we have been successful because we're talking the language of the business, which is top line revenue growth. And we've also been careful to point out that although this is a time of contraction in the market, we will be heading into recovery very quickly. And the companies that are most prepared to move into recovery quickly through accelerated marketing efforts are going to be most successful. And so by using that type of business language, positioning it in that way, we found that the business has actually been very open to these conversations.
After hearing some of these amazing stories, you start wondering, like, why is it so hard to get investment? Why aren't more companies doing this? Why does it sometimes feel like it's like an uphill battle at my company? Why is it hard convincing my executives and leaders to make these investments? And I think it has to do for a few reasons. One is that we can't see these customers that are missing us. We can't see them searching and not finding our companies, especially not in the same way you can see, like, for example, like a Super Bowl commercial. Like, you have your commercial or you don't, but it's very obvious to everybody and their families for that matter. The second thing is the investment horizon. We've become in business, and it's really for worse, not for better. We've become very short-term focused. It's become very much about quarter to quarter and trying to make the number right now. And we've got this really short-term horizon. The thing is, in business, business is not, there's no end date to our business. It's really an infinite game. We're gonna be in this business. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. And the work that we do today, we're gonna benefit from tomorrow. But we have to make those investments today to actually get the benefits of tomorrow, right? And that's this mindset that we need to get into. And we would make the argument that investing in content is the greatest single investment you can make in marketing for both the short term and the long term. And I'm gonna make the case as to why that's the case. It's interesting, when we talk about marketing, we often refer to a lot of it as spend. My advertising spend, my ad spend. You buy a click, you buy an impression, you get an impression, you get a click. When you're done spending money, you don't really get anything else after that. But when we talk about content, when we talk about SEO, we use the word invest. We're going to invest in something. And that's because when you make an investment in something, it continues to give you something back. It's not just a fleeting thing that goes away afterwards. And that's very much what it's like with content. Think about Warren Buffett, who's one of the wealthiest and most outspoken investors in the world. He'll often attribute his wealth to this idea of compounding interest or compounding growth. And basically, the idea is that you make an investment, you get some yield, you take the yield and you keep investing that into your base. And over time, your base just becomes substantial. And you can see here the growth of his wealth, right? And how that's grown from this idea of compounding. Bring that over to content. So if you invest in, let's just call it a media investment or a paid search investment or a display campaign, you make an investment and you get a return right in that period of time. And in many cases, that return can be substantial. But if you go over to time period 2, time period 3, time period 4, like into the future, that investment doesn't play out anymore. It's just gone. You have to keep investing to keep getting results in those future periods. Now let's look at content for a moment. If you make an investment in content in this moment, you might not get as much ROI as you do in that same initial time period. That's okay. But if you look into time period 2, if you look at 3, if you look at 4, and if you look into the future, the ROI just builds and builds and builds and builds. It actually gets bigger. That's very much like that paradigm of yield. Now, if you take that growth, if you take that yield and you keep investing in content, you keep taking a percentage of your investments, investing in content, you're going to have this yield. It's almost going to be like a content moat around your business. I've seen companies go public and in their S1s, they put, our content strategy is something our competition can't compete with. And I hear it on earnings calls for companies talking about how they've been effectively able to get a much lower acquisition cost because they're getting all of this traffic from content that they created in many cases years ago. Now, you don't just have to take that as words. We've got amazing examples. So start with our own site. This is something that we created about 2 years ago, and it was a piece of content written around a book around extreme ownership, and there's a lot of different search volume around terms relating to this book and the concepts it teaches. We created this content 2 years ago, and look at the traffic. So it just keeps getting more and more and more and more. I checked in with Joe, who wrote this. We haven't made any changes or any investment to this content since we started it, and it just keeps growing. And as you can see here, what's cool is that most of the traffic is coming from organic search, which makes sense. People are searching, they're finding it. But the other channels actually start to get a little uptick. Makes sense, because if you're gonna refer a link, where are you gonna go to find the link? Well, you're gonna search for something, you're gonna find a link, and then you're gonna share that link with people you know. Let's look at some more examples. So Penn Medicine, great organization that we work with. They created a whole bunch of content around different health conditions. One of them is how to soothe the sore throat. And as you can see, this piece of content, once again, created over a couple of years ago, continues to get more and more traffic, more growth. Another great company, SAP. So they realized that their customers and potential customers are doing a lot of searches around things related to what is. So they created some great content like, what is CRM? What is ERP? Once again, years ago, created this content, haven't made a lot of investments since then, and they continues to build value, driving significant volume of traffic, of leads, and ultimately revenue, new customers for these companies. It's pretty incredible. There's one thing in common with all these companies that we've shared their stories of, and all the companies that we see incredibly successful. They do this in-house. They have made this a priority across all their functions that are touching their website, all their functions that are touching their digital assets. They've got their leadership to buy into this. You can't just do SEO as part of a process like an assembly line. Like I create a piece of content, I do something, and I go and SEO it. It has to be at the source. It has to be at the beginning. When you're first thinking of doing it, you have to think about what that customer is. And if you take every single person in your company who's touching content, naming products, merchandising pages, really doing anything that's digital, they need to be thinking about the customer at the very, very beginning. And you need to make that easy for them to do that. And when you do that, it becomes part of the culture, it becomes part of the organization, and that's really the source of greatness. Another thing that's successful with these companies is that they've learned how to move quickly. In other forms of marketing, a lot of it has to do with how much spend do you have. You can outsource it. You can hire partners or agencies to go and do the work for you. But you can't. But in organic marketing, the currency is speed. How fast can you change a page? How fast can you make a new piece of content? How fast can you make a new piece of quality content? How fast can you fix your site when it breaks? How often can you make it so your site doesn't break when you go through your engineering or your development process? If you can learn how to go quickly and do things fast, you're going to beat the competition, whether you're a small company or whether you're a big company. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to do everything alone. No doubt, obviously, Conductor is a partner to many companies. If they all did it alone, then we wouldn't have a business. But the nucleus starts at the beginning, and then you have technology, which should be a third party. You have companies that could potentially help you with content, but don't ask them to come up with your wisdom. Ask them to bring your wisdom to life and give them your wisdom to start with. You can have partners that help you with audits. You can have partners that help you with keyword research. You can have partners that do a lot of things, but the starts from it's quarterbacked and it's ran from the beginning and the inside of the organization. I've shared a little thought on investment horizon and rethinking the sort of economic model. Talked about doing this in-house. Talked about the lifetime value of content. But there's more than content than just the value it provides upon itself. It actually provides much, much more value than even the traffic and revenue that you get from getting it found organically. And that's because content becomes the foundation to really every aspect of a marketing program. If you can see in this visual here, you start with the customer need, you create a piece of content, and then it becomes the source for really everything. And we're seeing this across a lot of companies. Your media programs, they're promoting your content. Your ABM programs are sharing your content. Your salespeople are bringing your content to events, God willing, when events come back into this world. Your social programs are sharing the content. Everything that you're doing, it's all pumping from this need and from these content artifacts that you create. Now, to give you an example, here's a company that we actually shared a piece of content that they created a few years ago at C3 called Madison Reed. Very relevant company right now. They're one of the fastest growing hair dye and hair products organizations. Amazing company. They thought they'd take a different approach to e-commerce. So instead of like seeing all their products on a page and then having a bunch of filters on the right side that you basically click and sort by price and products, they said, let's do this differently. Let's create a quiz and ask people the questions that they have, the needs, their desires, their wants, their current situation, and then they kind of like a concierge give you the best product. Now, this piece of content has always outranked much bigger, larger companies, established players. It's always done extremely well. But what they've since been doing is using this content across a lot of their different marketing programs. Emails that link back to this content, social programs that link back to this content, commercials that link back to this content, display ad campaigns that link back to this content. And then when you look at the results, it's unbelievable. Almost a 200% increase in organic traffic and a 1,200% increase in ROI. And now everybody in the world is, that has a need for hair products, or is learning that they have a need for hair products. They're not going into stores. They're going on Madison Reed. They're looking at these quizzes. They're using this quiz. They're finding their media. They're getting retargeted. They're in their email boxes. And this piece of content has really become the source for all of their different aspects and channels of marketing. It's pretty amazing, and it's a great story, and it applies to all of us. We have another customer, Klaviyo, who has been doing this also at scale. They're here with us today to share about how they've been using their content across all aspects of marketing. Let's hear from Klaviyo.
We're really focused on creating helpful, high quality, audience-centric content that helps business owners and marketers really learn how they can grow their online businesses and use their data to develop deeper, more personal and human relationships with their customers.
Having really deep content that will help them just understand all of the basics when it comes to marketing automation that can really help them is truly key to us.
SEO is hugely important. We really want to figure out what people are seeking out solutions for. What questions are they asking? What are they struggling with? What do they want to learn more about? And how can we use content to bring our unique point of view and other stories forth that will help them do just that?
We responded to the pandemic really by trying to understand what our customers and what the broader e-commerce community needed.
We had to quickly adjust our editorial calendar that we had planned out a month ahead. Just didn't make sense anymore to continue executing on. So we had to figure out what's really going to be important to meet this moment.
We've worked really hard to collect data from the community and also to pair that with information that we collect from our internal customers through their sales data to provide actual content that tells them how they should be thinking about their strategy, how they should be reacting, how they should be communicating with their customers.
That type of advice has been really landing with people and been really helpful with them. And we're getting great response, and the metrics are showing it.
We truly believe that content is a cornerstone of our strategy. We allow it to really permeate all of the different touch points that we have. So from our weekly newsletter that features content from the team, all the way through to live events that we have where we bring written content or we feature video content, we really make sure to tell engaging customer stories that are going to allow people to really understand what those that use Klaviyo are doing, the results that they're seeing, the power of the platform. And we really try to lead with that content first approach.
It's clear that this pandemic is going to change a lot of things in this world, and exactly where this goes and how it goes, no one knows. But us as SEOs and us in the SEO industry and have access to the data, we actually know a lot more than everybody else. We have a lens into this. I saw this article in the Times in early April, and I shared it with everybody at Conductor and a lot of folks. And this article was written by an author and a data scientist who talked about how doctors used to use data and search to understand symptoms of flu. And more recently, they've been looking at what kind of symptoms people have been searching for to help understand where COVID outbreaks were going to be happening all around the world. It's pretty fascinating. I tracked down the author, And turns out he wrote this pretty incredible book called Everybody Lies. And it's about how everybody lies in pretty much everywhere except for in a search box. And something we've always said, no one lies to the search box, which is why the information is so pure. Thank you so much for being here, Seth. Tell us some stuff.
Hi, I'm Seth Stevens-Davidowitz, the author of the book Everybody Lies, all the things you can learn about people from the search data. And the thesis of my book is that people lie kind of everywhere. So they lie to other people, they lie to themselves, they lie to traditional market research, they lie to surveys. You ask people, are you going to vote in an election? Everybody says, yes, 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 I'm going to vote. They don't actually go out to vote. They lie to focus groups, but they're really, really honest in unprecedented ways in the searches they put. Recently, due to COVID-19, I, like everybody else, have stopped thinking about everything else except this disease. And a lot of people have asked me, are there ways you can use search data to kind of understand the situation? I think there are two ways search data can be helpful in understanding COVID-19 better. The first one is in projecting outbreaks. And I and others have found that the symptom that's probably most predictive of a big outbreak is searches for loss of smell. Searches such as I can't smell, loss of smell, lost my smell. And this is a symptom, probably 30 to 40%, some estimates say, of people who get COVID-19 lose their sense of smell. We can use this to potentially, again, measure outbreaks in other areas. One of the things that was very striking when I was looking at the data was the searches for loss of smell in Ethiopia. But Ethiopians were searching for loss of smell more than everybody else, and suggesting maybe, the reason that there were actually many more people suffering from the disease, it just wasn't being captured, their testing wasn't good. When you think of big data, there's been so much attention on the negative, on that, we're spying on people, or we're, Cambridge Analytica scandal, we're manipulating people. And I think, learning what's really on people's minds, what's really going through their head, particularly things that they're not otherwise going to say, can be really valuable for helping humanity in health areas, in all kinds of areas.
That was pretty awesome. And the book is really awesome. And we actually bought 100 copies, and we're going to mail it to your house or wherever you're staying at to the first 100 people who put hashtag C3 New York in either LinkedIn or Twitter and tag Conductor. We will direct message you, get your information, and we will send that to you as soon as possible. So share your favorite C3 story and get a book, Everybody Lies. Thank you so much, Seth, for joining us. So Charity, not everybody has all of the information about search data. We can obviously go to Google Trends. Folks who have Conductor, we have a lot of research in Conductor. Can you tell us about some of the tools and resources that we've created to help companies use search data to understand things that are happening in their industry?
Hey everyone, it's Charity, and I am so excited to announce today that we are releasing a brand new tool to you guys. It is totally free. Anyone can use it. What this tool does is it tracks across hundreds of thousands of keywords the ups and downs in search that are going on right now due to the coronavirus. We're also providing a calculator that's powered by this database. You're going to be able to put in your data and see the specific impact the coronavirus is having on your traffic and revenue. What I noticed when I was looking at it is some really fun stuff. Recreational aircrafts and drones are up, I think, about 35% this week. I noticed that insurance queries are up an all-time high since the coronavirus started. Cycling is up 175% since the start of the pandemic. So while group sports are down, individual sports are really surging. People have never searched more than for cats and dogs than they are searching right now. And also beach vacations are up in search about 25%. I think that that's because we're all craving a trip to Aruba right now. Why are we talking about that? It's because brands have this incredible opportunity to use search as a crystal ball. Here's a couple of examples of customers of ours who have done a really good job of that. This is Fresh Direct. Right now we're all stuck at home and we have to stock up our pantries. So they have noticed there's a surge in demand for grocery essentials. And what they've done, and this is their homepage, is they have a new product offering of grocery essentials. So you can just buy a bundle of everything you need to really cook a good, wholesome meal. A company I really, really admire right now is 3D Systems. So they manufacture 3D printers. What they noticed is there's a ton of disruption in supply chains right now. One of the incredible things they're doing is providing a lot of parts for life-saving ventilators. I can't speak to that as well as they can, so we've invited David Stark from their team to tell us a little bit about what they're doing.
By using a platform like Searchlight and working with the Conductor services teams, we're able to expand our understanding of keywords and phrases that will actually resonate in the world so that we can start to alter and improve the quality and caliber of the content that we surface on our site. Our website, our digital footprint, represents about 60+% of our marketing pipeline. So it's an important element to the world. And the more of that we can do organically, just the more cost effective it is. Our cost per leads go down, our cost per acquisition goes down. Evangelizing the idea that organic search is important is a never ending journey. There's no end to it. We have to bring people back to the well every so often and help them to understand why they should be doing this. How can you apply search intelligence not only for page traffic, but to inform product development decisions, market positioning, competitive insights, and kind of everything in between. And we're almost to the point where we have some more receptivity to those higher level thinking, higher level applications for organic search as a strategic differential advantage in our company's marketing portfolio. Additive manufacturing, better known as 3D printing, has been getting a lot of press through the COVID exercises because supply chains are being impacted, because PPE is unavailable. Well, this company invented 3D printing over 30 years ago. So we have, and we're also publicly traded, so we have an inherent responsibility to present solutions that are safe, that have been tested, and that leverage our expertise. This is a company that cares a ton about what it can do to help patients, healthcare providers, manufacturers, and everybody in between to deal with these challenging times when nobody knows what's next. We're fortunate in that working with Conductor, we were able to ascertain what we could from the web to see what the organic opportunities would be and to make sure that we could get our very important content found.
Every year at C3, I talk about how the SEOs of today are the CMOs of the future. The people who are using this data, who grew up in this data, are going to be the leaders of our companies. Now, 2 weeks ago, we added a new customer called Arteza, and I looked up who the CMO was, and I saw it was a gentleman named Damon Peters. Now, Damon used to do SEO for Overstock years ago. He used to be a user of Conductor back then, and is an incredible guy. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, Damon, we'd love to hear your story of how you went from being an SEO to a CMO of a pretty amazing company. And Damon was glad to share the story with us. So very excited to have Damon here today.
So my path from SEO to CMO started back in 2009 with Overstock.com. We were growing fast and we had a lot of jobs to do. But one of the main things that we were always focused on was the customer. And so by focusing on the customer, we were able to create great content, great SEO conversations around what is the problem the customer is trying to solve. And once we started there, we knew exactly how to build our content strategy and all of our day-to-day activities around that goal. The traits and skills I think that an SEO needs to have is starting with humility. What is the self-reflection on why did something work or not work? And then also just creating full feedback loops for the purpose of looking at the work that we've done. So a lot of times we'll think that we're brilliant, that we have the greatest ideas in the world, but we started with ourselves. We started with what do I think, rather than start with what does the customer think. If you join a party and say, hey, do you just want to hear about me? Nobody wants to have that conversation. If you join a party and you ask, tell me about you, what do you have interest in? Then you're winning at that point. This is what people want to discuss. They want to discuss their own interests rather than what you have to sell. It's important to have an SEO technology in general because you're quantifying something that a lot of folks will call pixie dust. In the end, if we just jump into what is the data? What does the data tell us? And allow us to follow the next easiest win, then all this investment is a quick payback period, right? And so I look at Conductor as being probably one of the easiest wins that I can have as a marketing team, is to invest in what does the data tell us, and align your activities around that data, and then just execute. You have to have a significant amount of courage, because there are not going to be many people behind you at the outset. And so if you can just be the best in the world at what you're doing, and pursue this argument, and pursue this minimum basic requirements to having a good conversation with your customer, and then start showing success, you're going to get an enterprise effort around you. It takes that courage. You literally are going to have to say, I got this, I'm going to show you how this works. But you may have to work night and day to get it done initially. But then after you have the momentum, once you have everything moving in your direction, it becomes a wave that you're riding, and you're just going to kill it. And so you just really have to grind it out initially, and probably for like 9 to 18 months, to prove that this is a very good place to invest. And as a matter of fact, the most critical place to invest if the company is not working on this strategy at this time. You just got to grind it out, man.
Thanks so much for doing that, Damon. So I'm going to wrap up here in a few minutes, and I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. One is that this is an unprecedented time for us to help and tap into the wisdom of our organizations. And this is a time when we can react and we can respond to the changing needs of our customers. We have a superpower. And our superpower is that we can see what people want. We can see what people want before our companies can see what they want. We can see the needs of customers. And we have to use this superpower because it's really relevant at the highest level of business, literally making products or making the biggest decisions. For anyone who likes Spider-Man, right, there's a famous scene where Uncle Ben talks to Peter Parker and he says, with great power comes great responsibility. And we get that we all have this responsibility. We have this wisdom. We have this insight. And it can be very frustrating when you see the customers and you see the things they want and our organizations aren't listening. But like any superpower, we have to know how to harness it. You think about Superman, he has X-ray vision. He can see the bad guys on the other side of the walls. So what does he do? He knocks down the walls. Now, what do you have? That you can see the customers. So what do? You have to bring these customers to your organization. You have to help them see it. And there's a variety of ways of which you can do that. Now, if you're looking at this picture, you probably might be seeing vertical lines. I can tell you for sure your boss is going to see vertical lines. But if you just shake your head, just go like this, right? Shake your head, you start to see the cat. And this is a little bit of what we need to do at our companies. We need to shake our company so they can see things the way that we see them. I'm going to give you a few examples of how to do this. We've built some templates to share with you. For example, in this scenario, you can see that there's 2 million people that are searching for your product and your services. But how many times are you getting found? Well, only 1.5% of the time. That's pretty sad. And what's the point of being in business? What's the point of having a great product if the people who are looking for it, the people who are looking for the problems that it solves, don't actually find you? So you got to put this information front and center. Then you want to help people understand, well, if I wanted to buy my way into those customers, how much is that going to cost? And as you can see here, it's usually super expensive to have to buy all the traffic, to buy all that market share. And even worse, what are people actually finding today? They're finding your competition. They're finding competitor A, competitor B, competitor C. This really evokes some emotional reaction because you have a better product than them, but if those customers can't find you, then who are they going to trust? Who are they going to do business with? Obviously, your competition. And then to just put a cherry on top of this, it's good to give them some specific examples. Like take them into a SERP, take them into a search page, and let them see how someone comes in there and actually doesn't actually see your company. This can make a big difference. We at Conductor have a bunch of resources that we prepare for you. One of them is this template that I just ran through. Another one is that we have something at Conductor called an organic marketing assessment. This is where we have come in and we've mapped your organization in 4 separate strategies and give you basically an assessment and a benchmark against you and your competition and other folks in your industry. It's got a lot of really useful insight. It's something we do for customers, but in light of this event and these times, we're doing it for free to anyone who requests one on our website, which is pretty awesome. We also partnered with Forrester to build a total economic impact study and calculator You can come in here and effectively add some information about your company, and it will give you a prediction for how much an ROI you can see both in search but also in other channels by making an investment in content. We also built out a whole resource center. So we have a COVID hub on our website. It's got all kinds of different content to inspire you, to educate you, to give you tools, to share information from other companies. So check it out. Let's wrap up exactly where we started with that picture of my father from 1975. He's planting trees just so he can give me inspiration for a keynote, 45 years later. Actually, a few days ago, my dad went to that same spot where he planted those trees, and he took a picture of him and the trees and himself. And as you can see, the house looks unbelievable today. Remember that picture where you just couldn't see anything? It is literally a forest. When you go in the Google Earth view and you look down, you cannot see any grass. There are trees everywhere. It is unbelievable. And I'll use this as inspiration for me in terms of making investments and doing things today for the future. And let us all use this as an inspiration for us to plant our seeds today so we can live in a better world in every aspect of our life tomorrow. Now, we're excited about trees, no doubt, especially today. Today is a day full of trees, and what's not to be excited about? We love the metaphor for organic marketing. We love trees in general. And we're going to take our excitement and put it into action. So we actually partnered with a really amazing organization called One Tree Planted. And in honor of everyone who's attended, we are going to plant an individual tree in your name on your behalf. So really excited to do that. Thousands of trees are going to go into the ground as a result of this event. Thank you so much. And super excited to pass it off to my colleagues, Stefan and Pat, two of the best marketers that I know that are going to be sharing tips and tricks about how to actually take some of the things that I'm talking about and be successful. We're rolling out some awesome technology, including some free stuff for everybody that everybody can take advantage of later on today. And we'll look at just one more customer story before we do that. What's better than a great customer story from the amazing organization, Penn Medicine? Thank you, everybody.
Penn Medicine is seen as a leader and as an expert when it comes to healthcare needs. So we needed to quickly create COVID-19 content for our patients and the community to help them learn what was accurate and also to help them during this time and help make them feel less anxious. One of the things that we created was a dedicated section of our website for COVID content so that we could be as transparent as possible about changes to our visitor policy and appointments, what to expect within our hospitals, information about coronavirus and testing and things like that.
We're seeing a spike in all the coronavirus content to our website. So we've seen the pages we created for coronavirus getting a lot of page views and click-throughs just to learn more for our patients.
We used a combination of SEO keyword research to see what patients were searching for, as well as information from subject matter experts so that we could continuously evolve this content.
In partnership with Google, Penn Medicine was able to create a chatbot. This was an AI chatbot tool to help answer patient COVID-related questions. The goal of our chatbot was to make it faster and easier for our patients to get the correct answers around coronavirus. This also helped us limit the call volume that we were getting to our clinicians or to our call center at Penn. I think our group is proving to the business that SEO is important, organic results are important, and content development is important.
We actually created the hashtag Penn Together early on to promote a sense of unity on social media, but it became more than a hashtag. It represented what was happening both within the community and within our own organization. We were coming together in ways that we never had before. During this time when there's so much anxiety and fear of the unknown for so many people, it's nice to know that our SEO work and our marketing actually does make a difference.